Disclaimer, we'd like to note before the start of this interview that the opinions about to be expressed by the guest on tonight's Gettin Salty Experience podcast are that of the guest and do not directly or necessarily reflect the views of the host of the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Put the fucking fire out!
You're listening to the Gettin Salty Experience podcast.
Hello, my pal Roofy and Rosie. It's their anniversary today. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
I think it's 26 years. 26, let me see. 5 divided by 2, carry the 8. 26 years, bro. Amazing. Hope they're having a good time tonight. We got a good fill-in. We got the guy.
The guy.
You might know him as, hold on.
Oh.
I beat you to that one, Gons.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
But at least it's working now. That's all that matters.
It is. So we got a Florida guy tonight. So Gons thinks that he's, the cat's pajamas down in Florida, but we found a guy bigger than him, bro.
All my friends in Leatherhead Nation. Good to be here.
Yeah. There he is. He fell. He couldn't get. Hello. Couldn't wait to get here fast enough. He fell and he bumped his head on the corner of the.
Exactly.
All right.
He was plugging in the AOL cord.
They said free grub down at the card shack. For the
down to the clubhouse.
Come down to the clubhouse, free grub. He couldn't
buffet.
Get
in the assisted living, I slipped in the tub when the nurses were giving me the sponge bath. I hit it on the spout.
Do you have sex with your bathers? Just kidding, Hank. She's in the background. I'm sorry, dear.
We had a hell of a show last week, man. Good feedback, right? Did you get to see the whole show, Hank?
I did not yet. No.
What the hell?
That was your job to remind me that Tom Von Essen was going to be on.
Oh, speaking of, Mom, wake up. Wake up. She always puts on the show. She falls asleep.
Mom,
wake up, Ellie.
Meatloaf.
Wake up. She says, I started watching your show, and before I knew it, it was morning time.
We want it now. The meatloaf.
I was supposed to.
So am I doing the public service announcement about why I got the bandage on?
No, that's later on. That's later on in the show, fella.
Okay, we'll tell you.
Yeah.
We'll see what we got.
You know what we got to talk about? We got to talk about when you guys get over to the Salty Wire already for $9.95 a month. Give them a little sample of what they're going to get at the Salty Wire.
Okay, here we go.
And then he starts climbing up the ladder and he's waving to people as he's going. Now that picture is, I think, of the earlier test or an artist's version of an earlier test, but that's what that ladder looked like, assembled and up. And then you would start putting the guys up. So there's 8 men in all, pretty much like that, staggered along the line of this ladder. And for a couple of minutes, everything's fine. Nash is up in the top wave and the other guys are looking. And then the ladder just starts to cant and tilt a little bit.
Oops. Whoopsie. That was it.
And that's it.
A little taste, just enough. We're going to leave you at that little
I went hang gliding. Look, I'm hang gliding. I'm dead. That's what happened to that guy, brother. That's the first time that the city was putting on a little performance for the first aerial ladder that they had received. What an aerial ladder. And don't you know, they went up on that aerial and whoop, I'm not going to say what happened, but it wasn't a good thing. So get over there. And we have historical pieces like that. We have the rescue documentaries. We got the how $9.95 a month. What so $9.95 a month?
They're telling the listeners out there to get in the backyards, dig up the coffee cans with the communion money and the bar mitzvah money, and let's go for the shuffle.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
$9.95 a month.
Right, the cans are rusted in the ground in the backyard. Dig up the money and let's go.
Out loud. $9.95 a month. You get all this stuff. You get the Firewire app. You get the salty content. Come on. All right, look, come on. We gotta pay the bills. Okay, then we gotta get Double D in here.
Oh yeah.
Established in 1930 and under the current ownership since 1987, the New Jersey Fire Equipment Company handles a complete line of fire department equipment and supplies. Headquartered in Greenbrook, The company operates full 3M Scott service facilities in Ridgefield Park and Toms River, staffed by 10 fully authorized Scott certified technicians with a fleet of 6 fully equipped service vans. All New Jersey fire technicians and sales representatives are active or retired firefighters, officers or chief officers, career and volunteer. They understand the business and the importance of their work. New Jersey Fire has represented Scott since Earl Scott entered the SCBA business at the end of World War II. Among other leading manufacturers represented by New Jersey Fire are Globe and Firedex Turnout Gear, Mercedes Hose, Task Force Tips and Akron Brass, Hygenol, Firehooks, Arctic Compressors, MSA Carnes Helmets, ChemGuard Foam, Alkalite and Duo Safety Ladders, BA Face Shield Protectors, Truckman's Choice Saws, Grove's Gear Racks and Washer Dryers, Supervac Fans, RPI, Streamlight, and many others. A New Jersey incorporated and based company, sales and service are limited to the state of New Jersey. Find us now at www.njfe.com. That's www.njfe.com.
Fat Daddy Ray in the chat coming in guns a blazing, bro. You gotta love it.
Yeah. Ooh, and Lauren about her
It's all
fire
over
alarm
Jake
box.
Rixner like white on rice.
You don't play around. All right. Let's hear from Lou's golf buddy this past couple of
Oh,
days.
they went to play golf together. They're tight now, those two.
It's like a circle.
Yeah, life's like a circle.
Here we go.
Armor Tuff Firehouse flooring was recently installed in Station Number 7, the newest of the DeKalb County fire stations in Decatur, Georgia. Meeting Deputy Chief Smith of Support Services, Vince explained that Armor Tuff interlocking flooring is the only floor that is tough enough to withstand the abuse of fire apparatus, along with fire personnel at a very busy station. Chief Smith explained, "The flooring in all of our stations over the years gave us multiple problems. We need a floor that can last as long as the walls and the roof. That's why we chose Armor Tuff. The installation team came from New Jersey, and in 3 days, they had completed their work without any disruption to our daily operations. We were very impressed with not only the product, but with the workmanship as well. I highly recommend Armor Tuff for your station's floor." Call Vince today for a no-obligation quote at 908-917-7697.
And we do have another commercial coming up for Tough Bro.
We're in the midst of
I have to voice over. They're waiting on me. It's my bad. I have to do a quick
friction
voiceover.
coefficient.
Yeah, so we'll get it out there. All right. So
There it
let's do oh, you know what? You were right, bro. It's not Paula. It's Agnes.
Ah, see, someone I do it. I'm like, no, man.
I hate when you're right. Dick. All right, let's go Bermuda, Bahama.
Oh, yeah. You can tell that this guy's retired for sure.
You can tell he's from Florida. Hold on a minute, bro.
But that too. So, oh shit! Are we ready?
Here's the outfit coordinator for the Miami-Dade Fire Department. Yeah.
He loves that. He's over there laughing his ass off.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to the stage, everyone. Miami-Dade's own retired fire chief, Chief Double D Dave Downey.
Double D in the house.
Hello.
Welcome to the show there, Chief Double D from Florida.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I love that Florida style. You got the fire trucks down there. You got the palm trees. Nice.
Got it all.
What are you drinking? A little mojito?
Nah, a little Jameson and ginger.
Oh, look at you. You know how to do it. All right. Before we get off on our silly little way, we got to get patriotic.
Yes, sir. Here we go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Darren P. loves the shirt. Look at that shirt. When you work your way all the way through the ranks in the Miami-Dade Fire Department, you get that. You get a mug. You got a little something in the background.
No, when you buy
Chief,
32 fire engines one
congratulations.
time,
Here's
they
a
give you a
shirt. Here's a shirt and a mug. Thanks for making it all the way through to
the road.
Chief of Department, for crying out loud, right?
That's it.
All right, before we get to Chief of Department, we got to wind it back a little there, fella. Tell us about where you're from originally.
Born and raised in South Florida. Grew up in a little city called Lauderhill in Broward County, so just north of Dade County.
So was there like about 3 houses down there when you started growing up? What was down there?
It was a lot more rural than it is today, for sure. A lot of orange groves, a lot of cow pastures, and it's really grown over the years. But yeah, absolutely, I've seen a lot of change.
Really? So where were your parents from? Florida too, or where they?
So interesting. My mom is from Canada. In fact, she never became a U.S. citizen. She was a Canadian citizen throughout. Came down here in '58, I believe. Met my dad. My dad grew up in Louisiana, but lived in Florida probably since his 20s. And so that's
those are real
live
Floridians, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Darren's got
shirt alone is worth almost 30 years on the job. You gotta love the brothers.
Man, you gotta love them.
So, I knew this would be a hit.
Yeah. Dude, you gotta love it. It's like a lightning rod. It's beautiful.
And he's from Canada too, so you guys got a connection.
Darren,
there you go. There you go.
Canada, yeah. So was your dad a fireman, or what? Would you?
No, nothing. I had no firefighting in my family. Never even thought about it. Never. Didn't really know what I was going to do. And when I was in high school, I guess a buddy of mine saw something in the paper or whatever about this Fire Explorer program in the town we lived in, Lauderhill. And I said, let's check it out. And literally, like the first day, I was just hooked. I was always in sports growing up, and it seemed like it was just like sports. There's a locker room. The guys are all breaking each other's balls. You're dependent on each other. And I was like, this is what I got to do.
Like, this is for me right here. I knew it.
That's it. My decision had been made, and it just grew from there.
So what year are we talking here?
When the Explorers is probably the late 70s, 78 or so, 77, 78.
In the pre-show, it was Hank and Chief Double D talking about, back in the late 70s, early 80s. Hank was putting the right on the table. Book what I got on in 79.
Yeah.
It's falling out their pockets. Did you have any? So did you and your buddy do it? Did he wind up being a fireman too?
So he never became a fireman.
You dick.
Nah, he went for a little while, but no, he never became a fireman, and I was hooked. And not fast forwarding. Yeah, but not fast forwarding. But I remember when I was promoted to captain, somebody asked my dad if he was proud, and my dad said, "Proud. I'm relieved that this firefighter thing worked out because he had no plan B."
That's some people have that. They have no plan A, B, C, or even a D.
My biggest thing that I teach my kids: plan A, plan B, execute. That. If you would ask them, sum up your dad, it'd be plan A, plan B, execute. I tell them that until I'm nauseous.
There you go.
So far, it hasn't worked. My son's still floating around. No, he's doing.
Think about it though. How many?
Here we go.
I told you. As soon as we get in the fucking show, his fucking internet's gonna go down. What's that?
That is funny.
Is it down now or is it
working? Go. Get it in quick.
How many guys have had the same story as the chief, where they really didn't have a plan, and someone said, "Just take this test," or it was an Explorer program. The thing with the fire service is, if you give it a shot, 99% of the people that give it a shot love it, and end up excelling at at the profession they've chosen, and that's the same with the chief, and like a lot of the guys have been, they've hit the chief's rank, or they've had great careers, and back when they were 18, 19, they didn't know what they were going to do. And
we had a lot of the old timers come on and say, we asked them that question, how'd you get a job? Well, I was sitting on a stoop one day and my neighbor from across the street came over and just handed me this application. He said, take this test. I was sitting, I can't tell you how many times people do that. They say that on the show.
Countless times on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Worked out.
So
worked out.
All right. So what's the next step? Do you is it a volley? Is it paid down there? Would you?
Yeah. So, I when I got out of high school, down here, you got to go to fire school before you get hired by a fire department. Right. A lot of fire departments. So I went to fire school. I mean, back then it was only 6 weeks. I'd been an explorer at Lauderhill, but I moved over to Sunrise, which was a neighboring community. And because they had a training program and a lot of stuff going on. So once I became a certified firefighter, I applied for a couple fire departments in the area, and Sunrise picked me up. And back then they needed 2 firefighters, and they tested 2 of us. Now they need 2 firefighters, they test 5,000. But so I got on right away. And,
wow, so they needed 2, they test 2. They go, all right, you better pass, bro. It's only you 2 guys, and that's it.
Yep, that's it.
So who are these guys that you mentioned here? 3 guys: Mark Saletti, Dave Casey, and Chris
Niebling. Yeah. So, those were everybody has those mentors right away, right? So Mark Saletti was kind of the advisor to the explorers in Lauderhill, who went on to become the chief of department in Lauderhill. Dave Casey and Chris Niebling were at Sunrise and have become lifelong friends. And they were the advisors. They were the ones that really set the tone. They're the ones that, taught me how to embrace the fire service and love the tradition and everything about it. And I tried to carry that with me the whole time.
This is them, right, Chief?
Yeah. So, you've got on my left-hand side is Dave Casey. On my right is Mark Saletti. And on the outside is Chris Niebling. So these are really the guys that set my course and helped me, establish, I look back now on things even I did as chief of the department, and a lot of it came from just stuff I picked up from these guys. And
there's always that one guy, right, who's influential
in
your career.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, there's that one guy you gravitate to, and he sets you off in a certain direction. I don't want to mention any names here, but there's always that one guy.
In my career, there were many more, right? When I made chief of department, I had 25 coins made, challenge coins numbered. And I made it a point to give them out to those people that, were the reason why I was where I was today. That I didn't do anything by myself. And
did I tell you that I collect challenge coins? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I might have something for you.
Maybe.
Me.
Maybe when I come down in your free house that you offered to me.
There you go, buddy.
You can leave a challenge coin on the bed.
But if I give it to you,
like a chocolate,
when I give it to you,
on your pillow. My wife would be like, "What the fuck is that?"
When I give it to you, you got to look at real closely though, because before I retired, I had 400 coins made, and it's like a week before my retirement. And I send a picture to a buddy. He shows it to his wife, and she goes, "They spelled rescue wrong, RESQUE in the challenge coin."
Rescue.
I'm like, "Oh,
it's rescue."
That was the Canadian in them, bro.
So I've got a whole box of those that I give to the foreign visitors, and then I still have
those ones are gonna be worth something, bro.
Yeah, it'd be a collector's item.
Collector's item, like one of those coins that have like a printing on them.
Rescue.
Yeah.
Cool.
So how big was your Sunrise? How big was Sunrise Fire Department when you got there?
Back then it was a small department, 3 stations, probably about 70 guys total. Most everything down here, like where Gonzo is fire rescue. So it's both firefighters and paramedics. You do all the jobs together. So it wasn't a huge department, and it was great. It was a lot of young people. I mean, you hung out on your days off together, and we were all kind of around the same age, and it was mostly a retirement community and kind of a residential community. So a lot of EMS
medical schools.
Oh yeah, a lot of EMS, a lot of retirees, that come down from your neck of the woods, and just working with different individuals, it was a good learning experience. We look back, I was actually just talking to Dave Casey, and there's 10 fire chiefs that came out of Sunrise, that little department, 10 fire chiefs, including myself, across the state. So I don't know what they did, but it was a pretty cool place.
Well, yeah. You had 70 guys. How many firehouses in Sunrise?
There were three stations.
3.
And so you had, you had an engine in each station, a rescue. For us, a rescue is an EMS unit, and one truck. And they ran 3 on an engine. So I rode the tailboard, back step. There was no jump seats or anything. So you rode the back step by yourself. And the rescues had 2 people, 2 firefighters that were paramedics. And I think the truck only had 2 people.
2 guys. They did a lot with less, huh, Hank?
Rolling light in that case.
Oh my God! Well, so when you got on, Hank, you were riding the tailboard in 280, right?
For a short time, yeah.
At least you had somebody to talk to back there. This guy was by himself back there.
Yeah. I remember
what do you got, Dave? I don't know. I see smoke up there. We might have something.
I remember one of the one station. The station was a drive-through, and so the engine pulled out the back. The truck was there, and the rescue was there, and so we were. The station was open for voting. It was a voting day, right? So all the truck stalls are open. The voting's taking place. We get a fire call. So I go out to the back of the engine. I'm putting my pants on, put my coat on. I purposely want to get everything on before I jump on the truck. Truck starts up, vroom, 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 and all of a sudden it just pulls away, and I'm standing there. So now I'm running through the truck stall, with my gear by all these voters trying to catch the truck as it comes around the front of the station.
Like a
and waving down. Hey, you forgot me.
Sounds like a scene of the Backdraft.
Yeah.
Come on, Brian.
Come on.
Yeah. So
he was doing it. Dave was doing it up there.
Doing it. Yeah.
So what? Did you catch any work there at least when you?
No, a couple apartment fires I can remember. Nothing of any significance. The construction here, all concrete block and cement is compartmentalized.
Right. Terracotta roofs.
Yeah, some residential.
Proven content fires all day.
Yeah, that's it. And a lot of fire alarms, things like that. But
a lot of EMS.
A lot of EMS. And
you remember what you were making back in '82?
I do. I do. When I was going through my files, my first year I made $9,400.
Woo! Don't spend that all in one place, bro.
Yeah.
What about you, Hank? Do you remember you made your first year in '79?
Look, I did. It was on my when you get the printout from Social Security. I want to say it was like 14, 15 grand.
Right.
To start.
Well, his what'd you say it was 7,000 or 9,000?
9,000.
9,000. Well, that went a lot further down in Florida than it does up in New York. That's for sure, right?
Well, I remember we had lost a lot of guys to some other departments because we were so underpaid. And the city actually brought in some auditing firm, and they actually said you got to pay your firefighters more. Yeah. And so the city came forward with a 3-year contract of 10% raise per year, 10, 10, and 10.
10, 10.
So, it's amazing how your life
changes.
His
department, that wasn't Miami at that point, right?
No, Sunrise. Yeah, it was just a city department.
Right.
City.
I'm saying, I would think the bigger city, I don't know what Dade County might have been making more than that to start.
Oh, yeah.
Not that it was any big number, believe me.
No.
I took a pay cut when I left Pan Am to become a city fireman, but, no regrets. But, it was, civil servants. Listen, we all did it because we learned to love it later, but at the time it was a pension and health benefits.
Yeah. But when they offered the 10, 10, and 10, I'll never forget being at a union meeting, and it's amazing how your life changes over the years, right? I'm the young guy, a bunch of young guys, and I remember this older guy on the department saying, look, man, instead of taking the full 10, why don't we put more towards our retirement or our insurance because we're paying into the retirement? And us young guys are going,
shut the fuck up, man.
Get the money. And of course, when we got the raise, I went out and bought a Mustang GT and this one Arrow, all
classic rookie mistake.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And then it's funny because my last time as fire chief at Miami-Dade, negotiating the last contract I was working on, we were trying to work through some things, and I said, why don't we put some towards insurance or retirement? They're like, that's bullshit. And I'm like, my life has come full circle. Like,
look at life like a suckle.
I think a little different now on the back end.
Yeah. Well, you had the young guy say, hey, Chief, shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah, that's for sure.
We're still going through that with FDNY right now, right? There's still, there's the big court case going on.
Yeah, with the
medical insurance. We're trying to change it. So, it's a big deal.
Yeah. I heard the negotiating on the internet, too, to give the retired guys some good internet.
Did you get that?
Listen,
you don't need to explain to me, Luke. No, explain to Man, I got you then. Soon as they start,
you know what?
Right, Chief?
Maybe you'll send me an envelope with a few shekels so I can upgrade my Wi-Fi. You've been saying that for 3 years. I'm still waiting.
What's tomorrow? Oh, she's not in. Oh, she's not in tomorrow. Tuesday, I'm sending an envelope out to you, bro. You're getting it. That way you can't use that. Just for the fact that I'm going to take that one away from you.
Man.
All right, so you go from 88, you're there. 91, you get promoted. Wait, hold on a minute. 11 in Carroll City, now Miami Gardens.
Well, back up. So I was at Sunrise. I left there in.
I did cross that out. You go to Metro Dade, now Miami-Dade.
Yep.
Now, how does that work? You just go there now, take your application, go over there, and try to get hired there now.
So there was a point of time that they needed firefighter paramedics, and so they gave preference to firefighter paramedics, which was unheard of for Miami-Dade because usually they just open it up and it's thousands of people apply. And so there was a couple guys at Sunrise that were familiar. I didn't really know anything about Miami-Dade. I knew it was a bigger city, and I knew I was kind of bored at Sunrise. I wanted more action. I wanted to, have more. So, I said, okay, well, I'll give it a try and put my application in. And the funny thing is, the same time that we did the test, the same time they were doing the physical ability was the week of my wedding. So I always tell my wife I lost a year's seniority because I had to go into the next class.
See that? See what I did for you, honey?
Yeah, I lost a whole year's seniority.
Oh, but, wait, we missed a part. Wait a minute. We can't go back. We got to go back. That's where you met your wife, right?
Yeah.
She was a fireman too?
She was. She had a year's seniority on me, so she was senior.
I hope she told you to get your ass in that sink, you Johnny Bop. And then she still says that today. Get your ass in that sink. I don't give a shit.
That's right.
So you met her. She was in the same firehouse as you, or what?
We were partners. Yeah.
See what goes on down there in Florida, bro.
Yeah.
What happened? What's the signal that you put an upside down pineapple on the rig?
That's only for the boat. That's only for the boat.
I'm sorry. You put a Halligan in the other side of the rig. That's the signal.
No, I mean, like I told you, a lot of us used to hang out on our days off, and it's funny because we'd go to bars and I'd be picking out guys for her, and she'd be picking out gals for me, and this went on for a while, and then I don't know, we were the last two left, so we said, let's get married. No, we started dating, so which was, that was pretty challenging because it was a small place, right? Same bunk. We actually had bunk beds there.
Well, and it was a communal bunk.
We had the big open dorm. Yeah, no, it wasn't that. But yeah. So, but we were scared to death, right? Because we didn't know what the city was going to do. They'd never had that before. It was funny because my wife was the first female, so they didn't know what to do with a woman when she came. We had to put doors on the bathroom and things like that. You knew
what to do with it, though, right?
Yep. So then when we were going to get married, we had to go see the mayor again because they never had two firefighters married. And
except for Chuck and Larry, but they don't count.
So that's where I met my wife. Yep.
Too hot betting, Joel says.
Hey, Joel.
So she fell for you like a ton of bricks. That's what we're gonna say. We're gonna go.
Yeah, that must be it, right?
She saw you doing your thing, and she's like, "We gotta have it."
Yeah, don't let him fool you. She ended up being a very big wig down here too, man.
Really? Thank you for that, Gons.
Yeah, she just retired as a fire chief.
It runs in the family.
The double pension. Forget that.
Yeah.
Skull everywhere.
That's what Gons was like. Double pension, man. Get my wife in the fire service.
That's my famous Freddie LaFamina story.
What's that?
I was a chief. I don't think I was chief of department yet, and she was a chief. Neither one was chief of department where she was at. And Freddie would come down here during the winter time, and we were out to dinner.
House.
Yeah, not my house. You'd say. So we were out to dinner one night, and he goes, "Bro, I don't want to hurt your ego or anything, but I was at the beach today, saw a couple brothers, and I said, hey, Chief Downey?' And they said, yeah, she's awesome. Goes, they didn't even know who you were. So I said, yeah, she's the real Chief Downey. So that happened like today. That's what we say. She's the real Chief Downey.
She's the real chief. Did the guys in the firehouse know you guys were dating?
Not for a while. Not for a while.
Did you have to listen to them at all? Did you have to listen to?
Well, again, another funny story how we got discovered. We were.
I want to hear this one, bro. How we got this?
We were living together and nobody knew. So down in Key West, they have this thing, Fantasy Fest, right around Halloween. It's a craziness.
Crazy.
And so we decided to go down there, and this is mid '80s, right? And we decided to go down there, and you're partying all night, and it was like a toga party. We'd taken the bed sheets off from the hotel and put leaves in our head and all that, and we're out all night. In fact, at Sloppy Joe's, we're hanging out there. We're right out front. And I'm like, man, that sounds like Jimmy Buffett. And we walk in, and it's Jimmy Buffett. He's like playing in it. He used to live down there.
I hope he had that shirt on.
Yeah, no, but so. I guess in the middle of the night, CNN's there doing this story on stuff, right? And back in the day, in the fire, when you got up at the fire station, you flipped on CNN. And so they interviewed us, and here we are. And I'm like, wait a second, is that Dave and Julie? Like, why are they two together?
Wait a minute. Boom. Let's go. What?
Cat's out of the bag.
Cat's out of the bag, bro.
The rest is history.
I don't know if I told this story. It's kind of similar, but not. I don't know. So I met my wife in the firehouse. So she was selling thermal imaging cameras and meters to SOC. She worked for a company. She worked for MSA, and then she worked for Honeywell. She worked for a whole bunch of companies. So I literally ran into her in the fire. I was coming down for a run, and she was visiting Hazmat, and I knocked her over, right? So we become friends. We start dating, right? But she don't want me to say anything because she don't want to think that she's getting any special treatment or whatever. I can't tell you when she'd come to the firehouse how I'd have to listen to these assholes. Oh, the meter girl's coming. I'm going to take the meter girl in the back room. I'm going to fuck the shit out. I can't. After like 6 months, I'm like, I can't take it anymore. Can I please tell guys that we're with each other? I couldn't take it. I have to listen to these assholes.
Yep.
I think Hank was one. No, I'm kidding. Kidding. No.
It's only kidding.
All right, so good thing I didn't miss that spot. I went right over that. So let's go back to Miami-Dade now.
So I went there. Started in January of '88. So my class was all firefighter paramedics. We all came from other fire departments, and great class, and did our moving around our first probation year, and then right out of probation, I got assigned to Station 11 in Carroll City. It's called Miami Gardens now. It's where Dolphin Stadium is and the Dolphin training camp. But real busy area.
10,000 runs a year.
Woo. Yeah. So it's busy.
How many units in that station?
That's a rescue. Again, that's an EMS unit. A rescue, an aerial, and a chief.
I missed it. How many?
A rescue, an aerial, and a chief. So 3 trucks.
Okay.
So you were on the aerial or the rescue?
Rescue. I was on the rescue.
You were on the rescue.
Yep. And spent my whole time.
So the 10,000 runs was between all the companies, correct?
Correct. Yeah. The rescue did about 6,500 of them.
Mm-hmm.
It stayed busy. Yeah. Which was a shock to me because I left Sunrise and they were running about 3,000 calls a year, the whole city.
The whole city?
Yeah. My trucks were running twice that.
At what point were you like, maybe this wasn't a great idea?
No. As soon as I got there, I loved it. The only thing that hit me hard was there was definitely older firefighters, so it wasn't that young. Everybody's the same age, and so that was kind of a weird feeling. But it was. I definitely said I made the right choice.
Somebody in there wants to know, was Miami burning back then, like in the 80s, like it was up here?
Just during the riots. But we would have fires, but I don't think at the volume that you guys have, and we didn't have that period that you had in the 70s, late 60s. 70s.
Chief, let me ask you a question. This it could be a 10-part question, but some may go on your chief of department. But you said you got hired as a member of another department.
Yep.
Did the majority of the hiring back then into Miami or the Dade County, was it guys from other departments putting applications in? Or did they have their own hiring process, like a civil service exam that they made a list, or was it both?
So they make a list. They hire both, and even to this day they hire both. So they'll hire certified firefighters, and then they'll also hire classes they call non-certified that have nothing, just driver's license, and then they put them through all the training. So I know, like when I was chief of department, and even when I was chief of training, we would probably do about 2 classes of certified and 1 class of non-certified, just because it takes so long to make a non-certified, get them out on the floor. For the certified firefighters, it's 12 weeks. For the non-certified, it's 9 months. So it's a lot easier to get them out on the floor.
How big was Miami-Dade now compared? How many guys?
A lot bigger. So when I left, we had 71 stations.
Oh wow, that is big.
2,200 firefighters, about 3,000 employees I had, and cover 29. So it's a county department, so it covers 29 cities in the county, and then the unincorporated areas. So there's 5 cities that have their own department: City of Miami, Miami Beach, Hialeah, Coral Gables, and Key Biscayne. And the rest of the cities are covered by Miami-Dade County. We cover all the airports, so Miami International, Opelika, which is on the north, and Miami Executive on the south, the Port of Miami, the seaport. So pretty much everything from the Everglades to the ocean.
Chief, do you remember the square mileage? Because I can't remember what the square mileage is.
Yeah, so it's just about 2,000 square miles. So
2,000 square miles. Wow.
Yeah, it's a big place. It's a big place. So
here's Hank's question: did you guys have a rescue? Our rescues. Did you have a heavy rescue? You did.
So we did. We had we called it a squad, but we had one heavy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we had 3 what you would call a squad. We would have 3 what we would call a suppression unit that's tech rescue. So we had 3 of those, and then the heavy squad, and then we had one hazmat unit, and then 5 support units. You know, a lot of the hazmat calls you could take care of with speedy dry and some putty and a meter, right? So we would be able to put the units across the county.
How long was their hazmat in service for? Like, when did they start?
Hazmat for us started before the heavy rescues. Hazmat was in about the mid 80s is when hazmat started happening here. And
that happened with FDNY too, Hank, right? What it was, 80 what? Ooh, look at that.
That's the squad. That's the heavy rescue. Yeah.
That's the squad. Thank you.
Yep.
That's a mighty big rig. Hank, that's a long rig, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the 5 rescue in New York City are. You know.
Yeah, I think it's a very similar chassis.
Is it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it looks much longer.
It does look longer to me. I don't know why. It reminds me of that ones that they had right when we became a squad with that whistling turbo that you couldn't even sit in the 4 seats there. It was so loud. Remember that rig?
I never rode in that one. I was out at them, but yeah, I know they weren't that well liked.
No. But that's what it looks like.
I mean,
so they have one of those, and they have what other smaller squads?
Then we have 3 engine companies that are like your squads, rescue pumpers. So they're equipped for the tech rescue, and they have 4 technicians on each of their units.
And what do they roll on all working fires? How does it work for them?
They have their response area that they're responsible for, and then they have a geographic area that they'd run on any of the tech rescues. Oh. We don't send them like you do on a working fire as much. We're structured a little different. Like we don't have. I always said we have multiple personalities. You know, we have 24 trucks, but they don't work like your trucks. In other words, a lot of our trucks are in stations by themselves, and it kind of depends on when you arrive in the assignment what your job is, if that makes sense. If you know, like where I worked for a long time at Station 7, I rode an engine, but the neighboring unit was an aerial. So if the fire was in my territory, I'd be doing the engine work, and he'd support me with either the second engine or truck work. If the fire was in his territory, he'd act as an engine, you know, so because all of our aerials had pumps, hose, everything else. So
he could act as an engine or a truck, depending.
Correct.
On
what... we don't have.
Wow.
We have responsibilities on the fire, but not assigned to the company. If that makes sense. And in our rescues, we also use to do a lot of the truck work. In other words, they carry saws, hooks. And so
the guys on the ambulance, whatever it is, they're doing. Well, they're a big gig then.
They're all firefighters. One of them's an officer, so you have an officer and 2 firefighters. They have all their gear, SCBAs, and equipment. So they do primarily the search, the forcible entry, outside vent, stuff like that.
What is the manning now in Miami-Dade for an engine?
So
truck
every engine, every truck has 4 personnel. So that'd be an officer and 3 firefighters. And every rescue has 3 personnel, an officer and 2 firefighters.
And what about the squads? What are they?
The squads have an officer and 3 firefighters.
And what does this carry?
What is that?
That's their. I'm sorry, Chief. Go ahead.
That is an example of the most clandestine thing I ever did as a fire chief. That vehicle, nobody knew what we were buying. So the history behind it, in Miami-Dade, we're not smart enough to call a wrecker if we need it for a rescue. We have to wait for a police officer to come and say, yep, you got a car pinned underneath that truck and we'll get you a wrecker. And then we don't know what kind of wrecker's coming. And it was always a source of frustration, especially for our special ops guys. And I can remember in the 90s, I worked half the time on our helicopter. And I remember landing on the expressway. It was a young girl that had plowed underneath a semi. We had to, somehow lift up the semi. Didn't have the equipment that was there, and watched her die before our eyes. And in the early 2000s, I was out in Los Angeles, LA County. You guys had Larry Collins on here. They had gotten a wrecker, and I'm like, oh man, we got to get one of those things. And that was like back in 2002, and it just never happened. And when I became chief of the department and we finally got out of some budget stress. We started building out apparatus. And my chief of logistics, who was a phenomenal guy, a true operator, knew what you needed. He started speccing this truck out with Gettin. And I remember my budget director coming to me and he's going through the trucks. This is an engine. This is an aerial. What is this heavy rescue and recovery? I said, don't worry about it, Scott. He goes, we already have a heavy rescue. I said,
on the down low, Scott. How much is it? What?
So they roll it out at a conference here in Florida, our fire conference in January here in Florida. And of course it blows up all over the internet. Right. And he calls me and he goes, it's a fucking wrecker. I go, no, it's not a wrecker. And I said, it's a rescue vehicle, Scott. But we did, as a sidebar, we had some issues, and Larry had warned me, make sure you get with your tow industry, your wrecker companies, and let them know you're not going into their business. And we made it a point when that thing came to Miami-Dade, we met with our companies and our great partners and said, hey, look, we want you guys to know we're gonna still call you, but this thing's gonna come out too, and whoever gets there first, we're gonna pick the thing up, we're gonna move the vehicle out. But we had already bought it, and I remember
who brings that? Who responds with
that? The squad. So we added a guy to the squad. We trained everybody on the squad. I told them we're sending them to every school. They're going to go to Gettin, who built the truck. They're going to go to crane school. And these guys it was unbelievable, right? I mean, they were in their class. They're picking up fire trucks. They're doing all kinds of stuff. I said, look, if that thing ever flips over, we're screwed. And I said, I want you guys to know everything about operating, because it's a rotating crane. It's a 65-ton crane, and it's overkill. I'll admit it. It's but you know what?
It's Miami-Dade money, bro.
We got a great price. And
what's a great? I got such a bargain for you. Hold on,
it's such a deal.
I got that thing for under $1 million. And
what's that?
I got a shirt under $1 million. No shirt.
And a shirt. It costs us under $1 million, and I got this shirt.
I'll tell you what. I had this commissioner. They called me out to the commission meeting and said, was ripping me. What? I can't believe. I'm not going to approve this. I'm not going to authorize. I mean, he was screaming at me the whole time. I'm sitting there going, we already bought it. So I don't know what you're going to do, because it's already paid for. And we just let it go. But fast forward, the first response it ever had, we'll probably talk about it later. We had a pedestrian bridge collapse on a bunch of cars. And when I got there, that was the first day that truck was in service. And when I got there, that thing is out with the boom up and the cable down. There it is. And I'm walking around, and the guy that's running it, the guy that is handling my training, J-Rod, he comes up to me and he goes, Chief, it's not doing anything, but I know you'd want it here. because it was 900 tons of concrete. It wasn't picking anything up. He goes, but I knew all the cameras will be here and you wanted it right in front.
That's the guy you want on your side, bro.
Oh,
right there.
perfect.
Little
perfect.
secret there. If I'm not mistaken, J-Rod, didn't he not work for us?
I think he did. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know he came from another.
Yeah.
Awesome
Here's
dude.
a question from the chat. Can you ask Chief if he knows training Lieutenant Alameda at his department?
I would hope so.
It looks familiar. I don't recognize the spelling, but maybe.
He was spelled it wrong. I don't know.
I had a lot of guys. It's
we're figuring that out.
It's like John Coffee, like the drink. Not only
John, it's like the drink, only not spelled the same.
Only spelled the same.
Boss, you leave the light on at night because I'm afraid of the dark.
But I told that commissioner, and we proved it right. I said, in 1 year, we're going to save more lives with this truck than any of our ladder trucks, because our ladders don't do what your ladders do, right? Our setbacks of our buildings, and Hank, you've seen it down there. You can't get a ladder up more than a couple floors. That truck has done so much work. It's amazing.
It depends.
So it is paying off. It's a success.
Oh, absolutely, it's a success.
All right,
yeah.
so you're vindicated. So you can do this.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Actually, that commissioner, where that bridge collapse was, that commissioner, that was his jurisdiction. So that night, he walks up to me and goes, "Now I see, Chief. Good job." And then Marshall told me wasn't doing anything.
Listen, I think it was a great purchase.
Yeah. It like I said, other departments don't
10
have
years,
that challenge.
it was worth the money.
Oh yeah.
The juice was worth the squeeze.
But to your other statement, like you said, I do know down there, and I have to tell you,
when his internet comes back, when his internet comes back, he'll tell you.
Tell me when I'm back.
You're back. I have to tell you.
He's in a retirement.
Right here. This is
all right.
The early bird shuts down the internet.
Hurry up. Tell us quick, Hank.
Quick, go up. You got internet. Go.
Go.
Sign off, and I'll email this stuff to him.
Hurry up. Tell us.
I still find it hard that large city departments don't use ladder companies the way we did. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's wrong or right. It's just very hard when you've done something for so many years and you've kind of written the playbook on it, and it's been so successful that other departments don't do it. And I realize there's a manning issue and all of that, but it just, and I get it because I got a lot of friends all over the state and in other states with that kind of manning. Some of them do try to use the aerial a little more to their advantage, and ladders and
I'm sure it's good stuff.
Whatever you're saying is poignant. I got to tell you.
All right, forget it. Just go. Forget I'm here. Just go ahead.
Get your point in quick, will you? Come on.
You have to speak.
I said it's hard. It's hard to believe that the ladder companies aren't used more for ladder.
Oh.
No, and if Hank can hear me, I agree with him 100%. I think and what happens is things get missed, right? And the other thing is it puts a lot more stress on those company officers to make sure all those duties get taken care of. Where when you have, people with dedicated assignments, that it's going to get done. And that was always a challenge, for me, is trying to, take some of the stress out of the company officer of having to tell the next unit all the things to do. They should know what they have to do when they get there. And that's part of the challenge when you don't have those dedicated units and dedicated positions. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think we got to turn you into like an auctioneer, Hank. We got to and we got to say sold. Do I hear from you? I hear about a lot of companies. A lot of companies in whole
subtitles.
Listen, I've done all I can do. I pay for the high-speed internet. I'm hardwired. It's just
don't worry. That money's coming on Tuesday. All right.
I tell you.
All right. Let's fast forward. You get promoted to lieutenant.
Yep.
And you stay at Station 11 where you were.
Yep. Across the floor. I go on the aerial. Yep.
And you're one of the original members of the Florida Task Force 1.
Yeah. And
USAR Task Force.
Yes.
Yep.
So tell us, you went to a couple of deployments there: hurricanes, Turkey earthquake, and American Airlines crash in Colombia.
Yeah. So, I mean, just like, New York Task Force 1, part of the FEMA system, and Florida 1 is the same thing, and ours is contained within Miami-Dade. Yeah, that's so in the mid-90s, American Airlines came to us and said, hey, we're taking over all these routes to Central and South America, and we want to kind of put together a rescue team if there's a crash. We're thinking, what are we going to do? But we said, oh, we're interested, and flew out to Dallas and met with them and talked to them. And lo and behold, 2 years later, they end up flying a DC-10 into a mountain in Colombia, and they call us to help with the recovery. And we sent I was part of a 10-person team that went down there. And learned a lot. That's we had to climb this mountain every day, and we had to be off the mountain at night because they didn't know how the locals
cartels.
Yes, the cartels. Yeah,
Cartel.
Yeah. They tell us try not to look American. I'm like,
yeah, right.
As American as
my uniform
possibly be. Yeah. So
yeah.
But it was quite an experience, we assisted there. That was the only deployment we ever did with them. But,
that wasn't the plane that had the yayo on it, right? Where the cartels were looking for it.
Nope.
No. All right, different one. That was one that Gond was on, I think, right? God, you're on the FEMA team down there, aren't you? Or the task force team?
Yep. We're well, I don't want to say competitor, but
no, not a competitor.
No, not a competitor at all. But he's TF1, I'm TF2, so we're neighboring.
Somebody's got to be two. Team. Everybody can't be one. Don't
there's 28 teams, so
they're
all over the place.
It happens that we're like right here.
Yeah, it's like Los Angeles. Cal 1 and Cal 2, Los Angeles County, Los Angeles City.
I gotcha.
We actually anything in this area, normally 9 times out of 10 we're going together. So
yeah. And work well together, I believe.
Okay, so you're at Station 11 during Hurricane Andrew. That's the one where you guys got your ass kicked down there, right?
We got destroyed. Yep. I mean, it leveled us. Yeah, it was still one of the most powerful storms that ever hit the United States, and it really impacted us. We had about over 200 of our guys that lost their homes, lost everything. And so one of the unique things about it was we had all these guys coming to help, all these firefighters from all over the country. And so what we started doing was pulling guys off our trucks, and we'd keep 1 or 2 guys on our truck and put these firefighters from another area on the truck and allow our guys time to take care of their homes or insurance or whatever they needed. It was unbelievable the help that and then we set up a firefighter relief center down south because we were getting all these building supplies and everything. So when you were off duty, if your home wasn't damaged, you went there. Okay, here's the list. This guy needs to dry in his roof. This guy needs this, and we spent, every day helping those guys out. But it was probably closest to, and it was a short period of time. But your proverbial war years. During Andrew, I mean, we were just running from fire to fire to. It was craziness.
Chief, did you get hurricane by you recently where it was flooded out?
Yeah. Hank, north of him. Yeah.
That was a year.
Irma, was it? The last one?
Ian, you got hit by
Ian. Irma was a few years ago. But
Irma's my cleaning lady.
Homestead.
Irma, that's right.
With Andrew, Homestead pretty much got leveled. Isn't that correct? That was really the hurricane where Florida, I guess, decided they have to up their game with all the hurricane codes with the building.
There you go. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. I mean, it's just they moved my unit down, and it was interesting, right? Because when the storm, we don't have the prediction we have now. When I was on duty the night of the storm, so they're briefing all of us, and we'd upped our staffing. We brought in other crews in, and we thought it was coming into North Dade. I mean, that's where they were showing it the whole time. And I remember the chiefs telling us, hey, look, if we get a serious fire, we're not laying lines, we're not putting aerials up, just do what you can and pull out. So about 10 o'clock at night, I get dispatched all the way to the east side of the county for this gigantic restaurant on fire. I mean, this thing is fully involved. And when we get there, I mean, there are lines everywhere, aerials up in the air. I'm like, did they get the same message I got? And, the whole time we're thinking this storm's coming. And so we're doing our thing. And about 2 a.m, they said, all right, everybody's got to take up. We got to get out of here. I mean, you got the blue flickering happening everywhere, power going out everywhere. So we're working our way back to the quarters. And the whole time we're thinking we're in the bullseye. And it wasn't until we got back to quarters and guys were saying, oh man, we're talking to guys down in South Dade. They've lost the doors of the station. The roof's gone on the station.
Oh.
You know, we had trucks. They lost their windshields. The guys are in the trucks with their goggles, you know, like motorcycle riders driving calls. It was crazy. I mean, our guys did such a good job. You know, think about it. You lost all communications, all dispatch, everything. And the guys just basically had to take care of business in their area. And did an unbelievable job. And
how long did it take to get back to some sense of normalcy down there after that?
God, I mean, I know we were on long shifts. We were doing, 48 on and 24 off for weeks. I mean, it slowly started. I mean, rebuilding and everything, took years. But I can remember probably 10 months into it, you still saw debris piles just 3 stories high of where they'd moved the debris. It took a long time. And, but it was craziness. And I remember, and I was a paramedic, so we ran this one call, this line worker, FP&L worker had been electrocuted. And we got there first on the engine or the aerial, and we're working on the guy, and the rescue shows up, and he's burned up pretty bad. And I've always been a pretty good paramedic. All I'm doing is wearing a T-shirt. So the guys from, I forget where they're from. I think one of them was from Naples, actually. Didn't know who I was. And so anyhow, I ended up putting the airway in the guy, and I started the IV, and we handed him off to the rescue. And afterwards, the 2 guys went, "Man, I didn't even know you were a paramedic." And I said, "I'm not." I said, "What?" And I go, "I've been watching these guys for years." And this guy went back. He's like, "Holy shit, you should see what these guys do, man. They're not even paramedics." But it was craziness. But all the support that came in was great. And it was some crazy times.
Yeah.
So you're at 11, but you get assigned to 7. Now, you got assigned there. Or you wanted to go there.
So I wanted to go there. We have a bid system. So
right, I've heard of that before. Yeah.
Yeah. So you basically use seniority. It's not, you don't meet anybody, you don't meet the captain or anything. It's just based on seniority. If you have the qualifications and the seniority, you can go to the company. So I always wanted to go to the 5th Battalion. It's a busy battalion, and so 7 was a good opportunity.
Are you in that picture?
That's me on the far left. Yeah.
You got the party in the back and business in the front.
No. There's no mullet there. No.
I thought there was a mullet going on there.
No. Yeah, windshield wiper.
It might be. Maybe it's the light. I'm like, what?
Let's see what I got here.
One other funny story though, right? So that's me next to the guy. That's my good friend Jan from Germany. Came over and visited. He actually went up and rode with Rescue 2 back in the early 90s. Came over visiting as kind of an official visit, and we've been friends ever since. But in that other picture, you see, I was wearing the radio strap like you guys do up at New York. But another interesting story, right? So we never had those radio straps. And I was still a firefighter. And only the officer had a handheld. And we were out, believe it or not, out jogging. And we'd hand off the handheld. And we got finished, and we're at the back of the unit and cooling off and everything, and loaded up and rode back to the station. The lieutenant goes, "Hey, where's the radio?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I left it on the tailboard." And of course it's gone. So I guess a couple others had been broken, and the division chief lost his mind, and they said, "You're going to have to pay for it. And now you cannot just stick a radio in your pocket. You got to have a strap." So first they made you wear a belt clip, and our original straps were actually horse leads from the feed supply. There were nylon horse leads, and we'd seen what New York had, and we're like, "Hey, they make these leather straps, and that's how they came to be."
I thought they had money down in Miami-Dade.
Yeah, we didn't know any better.
Back then.
Now they do.
Now it's like, if I bring out my money gun, it's all county funds are ridiculous.
I hear the money's all up in Naples, bro. That's where all the money is.
There is money there.
Those guys are no joke. They're swimming in the
so I went to 7. Great company, great firefighters. Really enjoyed it there. And
all right, so you develop a flashover training program in Palm Beach and then Coral Springs.
Yeah, Yeah.
Oh, well, I know that place.
Oh, Springs.
I know somebody from
What is
there.
that? That's a real rundown scum shop.
Scum-
That was my inn with Gonzo, right?
No money whatsoever there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were doing some training, and Palm Beach was really leading everybody. They were really doing all the tech rescue training. A lot of your guys came down giving the training back in the 90s when we were training all our USAR members and all that. And they built this flashover, and I ended up running the program, and good training, just really, I sold it to them as a fire behavior simulator, and it was good training for just learning, be able to sit there and watch fire behavior.
That's really what it is.
Yeah, that's really
what it is.
Yeah.
What's that?
The fire behavior
Flash
simulators, you
over
get,
Oh, I thought you were talking.
we don't
about
really
his sales.
flash it because you just kind of watch it, go
I
through.
thought he was talking
speed.
about his sales skills, because I heard he went on to buy a wrecker later on in his career. Yeah, that's where he started his good sales skills,
Yeah. No, my ability to hide things.
Ah.
Pay
So
no
you
attention
start
to the man
teaching the
behind
technical rescue too. So you had learned that. You said the guys up north were coming down and teaching you guys, and you're passing it on
Yep.
to the brothers down there.
And we were also doing the training. All the USAR teams were kind of training in the beginning. I remember that was the first time I had met Ray. Downey he was a captain then. It was in Montgomery County, and we were doing some training there with some New York guys and other folks. And yeah, so that all kind of developed all through the 90s. That's really when our squads and our tech rescue, our heavy rescue doesn't run like you all. They primarily do the tech rescue stuff.
Ask him about the pool story at the training center from Mark Hunley.
The pool, huh? Yeah.
I don't know. Can you tell the story?
Yeah. I mean, when I was, we in the late 90s, we passed a bond to build more stations, headquarters, and a training center. We never had our own trainings. We closed our training center in 1980. And so we were using the community college and other places. And so we, bewitched.
Oh, look at him. It's got to be close to my age then.
So anyhow, we unfortunately had a recruit killed in some live fire training in 2003. And so we'd already used the bond money for the stations and the headquarters, but they had never done anything with a training center. And so fast forward, I'm chief of training, and they finally decide, hey, we got to move forward on this training center. So we start doing the design and everything. But, we have a huge dive rescue program. And so part of it was always going to be a pool. And so for training. And so when they're doing the design and everything, they come to me and they said, hey, you want a pool that's 12 feet deep, but the water table, because of the water table is so high in Florida, it's got to be 9 feet above the ground. I'm like, 9 feet above the ground? That's going to be ridiculous. How about we build the pool deck on the second floor and then just build it on the ground? And that's what we ended up doing. So the first thing on the entire lot that was built was the pool. And but the other funny part of it was we wanted an observation window in it, right? So we designed this window. It was 8x4 observation window for when you're doing training. And so this thing had been designed by the engineers and everything, and they're actually framing out the pool. And my facilities guy and the contractor comes in my office. Chief, we got a problem. I said, what is it? He goes, we're framing everything out, and they're saying we can't do the window because of the pressure of the water and the concrete and all this. It can't be done. I go, what are you talking about? Like, engineers designed this. And I go, no, you have to. We can't do anything. Maybe we could do like a porthole or something. I go, this is bullshit, guys. I said, I'll tell you what, let's go for a ride. And they go, where are we going? I said, we're going to go over to the Miami Sea Aquarium, and one of you two idiots are going to tell me why Shamu can be in a tank. It's a whole glass wall, and I can't get a 4x8 window. And they said, okay, you get your window. So, yeah.
So it's like the surgery window, and everybody's watching them do the surgery down there, right? Like that?
Yeah.
So 99, November 99, you get promoted to, now when you get promoted to captain, I guess these are tests you're taking, right?
Yeah. So we take a written test. Yeah.
Oh, and here we go. Hank, he gets his first foray here in special operations.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm working in special ops, and ultimately took over the task force as we call it a bureau officer in charge.
So are all your tests, the promotion tests, are they strictly competitive written? Or do you have to pass the written and then you got to go for like an evaluation or anything like that?
Nope. You just read a bunch of books. You know, the lieutenants, I think there were 18 books, and you take a written test, and however you rank, that's back from I was at 7.
Okay.
So no bullet there. And then, you know, they rank you just based on your score. That's it.
I think a lot of the smaller departments are surrounding you. They have to go through like
most everybody
evaluation, which I mean could be subjective, you know. So it's kind of leaves itself open to a little bit of criticism, I guess. But
my agency, it's a written and a practical exam.
Right.
Practical, like they shoot scenarios at you, and you have to.
Well, per the union contract, I actually do what they call a live scenario. So I have to take them out and perform live elements that they would. Obviously, it's a scenario, but I have to put them through the motions, and I bring in outside evaluators so they try to eliminate the bias, so there's no favoritism kind of thing.
Do me a favor, could you stop making it like you're really important, because you're ruining it. You're ruining it for me. You're really ruining it for me. I'm like, this is the guy talking about movies lines with it. Now all of a sudden I got to look at him as somebody who's important. You know, I can't do it.
I'm on a small scale, man. I'm just a training guy.
Yeah. This is the guy who's sitting in my living room scratching his nuts last week. You know, like
whoa.
Now I got to look at him like he's somebody important. You know,
Brain dance.
Where do the outside evaluators come from? Is there a business that provides them, or are they guys, or what?
I don't know. I don't remember how Miami-Dade does it, but it's, as far as in Broward, we'll ask neighboring guys that usually work the day shift to come out and volunteer. We do kind of an exchange system. If you help me, then I help you. And
I thought you went down to Home Depot and you got a couple of guys sitting there waiting to do some work.
You want to work?
You want
to evaluate? You want to evaluate?
But you want to evaluate. But yeah, if not, then I have to hire people, and then but definitely outside people. We try to get people that they don't know within their ranks, within the rank test.
This guy Gonzo is really up on it too, man. Right, right, Hank. I mean, man.
I'm just saying when you're used to a certain way and you start talking to guys from all around the country, there's so many different ways of testing and
it's different for the administrative level too. The administrative level, they could just do an interview and you're the guy, and then they could pick if they really want to. I mean, but they put you through the show.
So doesn't that lend to a little of this still? Like, hey, maybe I'll pick you if you rule something back here. You know what I'm saying?
Let the chief answer.
I think it's more of the who you know rather than the scuttle. It's who you know, and some of that.
Well, that the scuttles never hurt though, Hank. You know what I mean?
Why?
Our higher ranks are definitely different than yours. They're not tested. You know, like my department, battalion chief's the last tested position. So divisions, assistants, deputies, fire chiefs are appointees.
New York there's one more test. There's a deputy chief, but then all the staff chiefs are appointments. But you have to take the test to deputy to get there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then it's all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah.
How you doing? Yeah. All right. So during this point, when you're a captain, you get deployed to WTC.
Yep.
Post September 11th. Walk us through a little bit of that. Just,
So, like everybody, you remember where you were. So we were actually in the special ops office, me and the chief, and we got a call. And he's like, hey, man, turn on the TV, this plane. So, of course, we're watching it. We see the second plane. And we literally, as soon as we saw it, we're like, we're under attack. And, back then you got, pagers and the phone rings, and it's FEMA had activated all the teams literally within minutes after that. And so, like all the other teams, started assembling. We didn't really know about the Pentagon at that point, but just started assembling the team, mobilizing, and got our orders. We drove up there. It was pretty amazing. Somebody had orchestrated. We've got 14 vehicles in our caravan. Somebody had orchestrated. Every state had a troopers would pick us up, and they'd block all the on-ramps, and we'd just keep on going. We wouldn't have to slow down for anything. No checkpoints at the states. It was unbelievable. I remember we had some guys in the overhead team at the Pentagon. So on our way up, we stopped at the Pentagon to see what they were doing, because we were going to be brought into there's a military base in New Jersey. That's where they held us. Fort Dix. So our orders were to report there, and we were going to be held because they had a wave of teams already moving in from Massachusetts, Pennsylvania. So we were coming in behind them. And we held at Fort Dix, and then when they pushed us into the city, they had us all housed at the Javits Center. It's where they had all the FEMA teams, and they would transport us down to the, we worked one, a day shift, night shift, and there we are there. They transport us down. We do our work at the site, and then head back to the Javits Center. It was interesting because we were sleeping in the second floor of the Javits Center, and the whole thing is glass, and so it's like sleeping in an aquarium, it was definitely, I think we were talking about it in the pre-show, it was definitely a tough one for a lot of us, myself included. This was like you guys, this was very personal. We knew a lot of these guys, and I remember when we first heard that Ray was one of the ones missing, we were just like, that's not possible. We've been trying to get in touch with him. He's got to be running everything. And so it was a tough one for everybody, I know. But like everything we've been on, our mission is, of course, rescue. But if we can do anything to recovery and bring closure, that was a goal. I remember, like everybody, you have your memories, and I remember the day that they finally kind of located. I think it was Rescue 3. A lot of the guys were in an elevator or in an area elevator of the Marriott. And I remember that day so vividly, when they were bringing those guys out. And, it was amazing to me, the level of respect, and you guys were there, the size of that work site, and they were bringing a firefighter out. I mean, everything stopped. You could hear a pin drop. And I remember that Sunday. It was a long day seeing them recover those guys. And I don't remember the guy from I think he was a Rescue 3 guy. Huge dude. That's all I remember. He had to be 6'7", looked like a linebacker.
Was it Meisenheimer was from Blackwell?
That's the name that came to my head, John.
Man, he was a big.
He wasn't tall, but he was big.
Big guy. Meisenheimer was a big guy.
He was a tall guy, but there was some, like everything, there's stuff going on, right? I mean, we had some issues with the steel guys, and even with fellow firefighters. What are you doing here? And trying to just be able to help each other out, but. I know that there were some side stories about, I think it was the Texas team that had made some comments in the media that really offended a lot of the New York firefighters about, hey, the cavalry is coming or something, and kind of pissed guys off. And again, I didn't know any of this stuff till afterwards, but I remember this guy coming down from the pile. And of course, I'm the first USAR guy he sees, and he goes, "Where the fuck are those guys from Texas?" I go, "Hey, bro, I got a palm tree on my head. I'm from Florida, It ain't me. I think they're on the other side there,
I was just glad to see anybody. There was so much work there to do.
Oh my God!
Chief, I was gonna say, Chief, if you when you and I spoke briefly down here, you told me a little bit about the tunneling story to Jay Jonas.
Yeah. So, the weird stories, right? So the area that we were working, we were working down into the path train and trying up, I guess it's building 1, right? Is that, I remember because I was kind of assigned working with whatever the FDNY chief was in that area. And my guys called me on the radio and they said, "Hey, we found this stairwell and there's some gear in here and stuff. Nobody in here." And, I think it's the B stairwell. So I tell the chief, and he kind of just chuckles. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, the day the towers came down, we had some guys trapped in there, and they didn't realize the whole building had come down. And so they're on the radio saying, "We're in the B stairwell. Go through the glass doors of the tower, make a right turn. It's the second stairwell on your left, the B." He goes, "It took you guys 10 fucking days to find it." And I said, "Yeah, and of course I heard the story afterwards, but I didn't know it then."
How long were you there for?
I think we were there a little over 2 weeks, and then they rolled us out. I remember. I know, Hank, you said you were with Rescue 1. I remember we went and visited Rescue 1. Obviously, they were close by, so they had rolled us off, and we had like a day and a half, I guess, to demo. And so we made it a point because we had known a lot of the guys from Rescue 1. And so we took a few of us and we walked over to the quarters.
Right. I wasn't at that point, I was out of Rescue 1, and I was in charge of the Kevin Kublas and Louis Rafranos in Squad 288 with Captain Murphy. But,
Yes.
So I wasn't, when the towers happened, I was already out of Rescue 1 at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So I saw Joel just post. Yeah. So,
Right.
I remember that Joel and, so it was, we didn't know where any other fire stations were. We knew we were Rescue. Hey, there's Joel.
There's Joel.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
There
I got to talk about Engine 3. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to rush you, but I was just trying to show you Joel.
Yeah. Good man. Good man. Yep. So that was kind of ours. I mean, it was quite an experience. I'm glad I was part of it. I was glad we could help in our little way that we could help. And
how many FEMA teams responded? Do we have any idea how many?
All of the team. There's 28 teams in the country, and all but 2 were deployed. Now, I think
because they sent some teams to the Pentagon too.
I think
did they not?
four of the teams went to the Pentagon. The rest of them came to New York City, and kind of in waves. And I know the teams coming in behind us, they actually had them also doing something as first responders, because obviously your special ops were decimated and trying to support whatever you guys needed on the special ops side. I don't know how that worked or anything. We weren't part of that, but I know that we're talking about that with the waves that were coming in behind us. So it was definitely an experience.
Now, were you still on the job when the Surfside collapse happened?
So the Surfside, interesting. I was retired, but when I retired, I went to work for the state because one of the jobs I've served in the state of Florida for a long time. We have a statewide emergency response plan where we coordinate, like for hurricanes and stuff in your area, coordinate the fire resources and rescue. And I was one of the guys that helped build our USAR system here in Florida. So that morning of the collapse, I got the phone call that, hey, we need you down there on behalf of the state fire marshal to coordinate. So yes, I spent 19 days down there.
So because that was leading into my question. Do you feel that the experience you had at the trade center, it was obviously at a much smaller scale, but it's still a building collapse with numerous people trapped or killed. Do you feel that experience helped you coordinate and run the Surfside collapse?
Oh, 100%. All of the responses I'd been to. I remember when I first got there, I was talking to one of the chiefs, and again, they were kind of in that shock of disaster, right? And they said, "Listen, we've run the dogs, and we're not getting any hits. I think we're going to wrap things up in about an hour." I said, "That's what you think?" I said, "You're going to be here for a month until we hit dirt." And I was wrong. They were only there 28 days. But
just shy of 2 days.
But again, I had a different perspective, right? I had seen other disasters like this and realized, first of all, if not you, then who? And what we had to do. And I'm incredible. It's my department. I know all the people. And I'm incredibly proud of what they did, especially the first responders. I don't think they got the credit that they deserved. The USAR teams did a great job in bringing closure, but those first responders that aren't tech rescue, that aren't engineers, that aren't anything, or push themselves into that building, into that pile, not knowing what's holding up that other building. I mean, that was my first thought when I got there. Why is that thing still standing? And they saved lives. They brought out 34 people, and incredibly proud of what they did.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. I have a little show I do in the morning called A Cup of Joe and Fuego, and I played. Somebody sent me the audio to the Surfside. Man, those guys were calm and cool because they weren't going on it. They were going on a box for something else when I got there.
So
I forget how it came in. It was very nonchalant.
Yeah,
it came in.
And the way they responded, very cool. Hey, listen, we got a major collapse here. Start out. I forget what you guys call it down there. The technical rescue, whatever it is. Very cool. No panic. No nothing, man. I was like, wow, I was impressed.
So funny story with that, right? So yes, originally it was dispatched as a fire alarm.
Right.
So it just went one engine, and I talked to the captain and his driver. His driver was one of my rookies. And they had said, look, we get alarms there all the time. It's middle of the night. Surfside's not a big city. And as they're turning down the last road, they see this cloud. At first they're thinking, holy shit, we got a fire. And then they dispatched a parking garage collapse. So they're literally sitting there while the dispatch is going out. So you can imagine there's all these expletives flying around in the cab. Holy shit, what the fuck? You know, and the driver's doing what great drivers do. Cap, take a breath. This is what you have to say. You know, think about this. So we affectionately nicknamed him Count Chocula because he said there's 1, 2, 3, I don't know, a lot of floors. And
Bill Hill, they Bill Hilled him.
He did a Bill. He Bill Hilled.
But the other funny part is he gets his whole size up, and because it was just a single company response, the dispatcher said, "You've got to switch to the tactical frequency." So he had to do it all over again. But he did a phenomenal job. I mean, he said a few things that put into motion. You know how that goes, right? That made things easier for the next days and weeks to come. He did. They all did. They did because that collapse had sheared off the stairs and the elevator. So all those people, mostly elderly, had to be taken out over ladders. And fortunately for that building, the building was right up on the road, so they could use the aerial ladders. It was quite an event.
Yep.
Who made doing it? Who? And this is probably, I don't want to say a cynical question, but not towards Miami-Dade, but you said the guys went in the remaining standing part of the building to make searches, and they rescued 34 people.
Yep.
Did they do that as before a command chief had command of that scene, or did the chief let them go in and do what they had to do?
No, the chief for that area was coordinating it before the other senior chiefs arrived. So yes, that was a coordinated effort, but there were people in there calling 911. There were people on their balconies screaming for help. And so they realized we got to get in there. And there was also, you're hearing voices from the rubble up underneath. There was a 2-level parking garage. So, they realized they made that whole risk benefit decision that, hey, we got to get in there and get these people.
Right. I mean, I applaud the decision. I think it was.
Yeah.
We remember when we raised our right hand, we knew it was a hazardous job.
Yep.
And I think now I'm not painting with a broad brush, but I think nowadays some guys are a little gun shy and well, we'll wait until we get the building engineers here to see whether the building's stable enough to send you guys in or.
Yep.
And I mean, sometimes you just. There's people's lives in the balance. And if the fire department's not getting them, who's coming to get them?
And Hank, you're spot on, and when I talk about this, I was just talking about it the other day. I was teaching a leadership class, and that's exactly what I said. I said, we all raise our right hand, and it's that small percentage where you say, I don't know if I'll ever have to really put my life on the line, but that's what I signed up for. And that's what they did. And they did a great job.
Right. And, that's what I said. And 34 lives were saved.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That.
Great job, man.
Like I say, sometimes, even as a guy in charge, you got to remember, yes, you don't want to lose any of your members.
Yep.
But I don't want to be explaining to somebody, why they saw their, they were on the phone with somebody.
They lost the signal.
The building collapsed, and you got to explain to them why you didn't have anybody trying to rescue them. To me, that would be a lot tougher.
Actually, one of the apartments they forced in because they checked every apartment. They go into a bedroom, and here's a 72-year-old guy sound asleep, slept through the whole damn thing.
Wow.
So they took him out in his tidy whiteys over the aerial.
How many people did they lose, Chief, for that job?
98.
Wow. Holy shit.
So, and that's the other thing I'm really proud of is that, they accounted for every one of the people. I mean, literally the last day is when they found the last remains of one of the victims. And that's pretty amazing too, right? I mean, is trying to bring closure to these families.
Yeah.
And so incredibly proud.
Yeah. To be proud, because that's how we operate when it comes to the task force deployments. If we have a list of names or whatever there may be, we're not leaving until we complete that task, and at least account for some way to check that box of that name that might be missing.
Well, Chief, you said it right when you told that chief, when he said we'll be out of here in a couple hours. You're not out of there until you.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Take
stuck.
the ground in, then you're going to be going subterranean. But until every bit of this building is lifted off, you sifted through all of that stuff. Especially if there's still 1 or 2 bodies unaccounted for. That's what you're doing.
Yep.
Let's shoot forward to 2002. May of 2002, you get promoted to battalion chief.
Yep. Yep.
And
That's just, for us, every time you get promoted, we tell everybody you get the city bid, Carroll City, Florida City, you move all over the county. And so just a relief battalion, moving around, filling vacancies.
So that was that.
Yeah.
So August 2003, appointed division chief, now North Operations, responsible for 4 battalions in the northeast part of the county, primary high-rise districts as well as residential.
Yeah, actually, that's where Surfside is, right? So all of our cities along the coast there. But so we're organized. We have 14 battalions, and then back when I was there, when I was a division, we had 4 divisions. So we had a north, a central, a south, and a west. So I had 4 of the battalions under my division in the northeast. So that was a challenge because some of the very senior chiefs, many of them I had worked for when I was a younger officer, and now I'm their boss, but real good officers. And, I enjoyed working up in that area.
Right. So how many square miles is that? If you have 4 battalions, is that a large area you're covering?
No, boy, how much would that, the way we're set up, that area is much more compact than other parts of the county. So our stations are much closer. Our battalions are a little smaller in that area. If you get west and you get south, that's when things start getting farther apart. So let's see, each battalion had about 4 stations, but it is a tight geographic
We had
area.
about 16 to 20 stations somewhere around.
Yeah.
That's a lot of guys.
Yeah.
No doubt. August 2004, you get assigned as chief of EMS. So now you're in charge of all squads or all EMS then.
Yep. Yeah, so that's why ours are all the training, all the certification for both the paramedics and the EMTs. At the time, the chief was kind of moving people around to different places. And so I got that. I didn't mind it, but, I had kind of come up on the EMS side, but I really kind of had run my course with that. So I'm fortunate. If you ever asked me what I wanted to do, ultimately in the fire department, it was not to be chief of the department. I wanted to be chief of training.
There it is. It says in 2005, assigned as chief of training, my dream job.
That's it. Yeah. When I interviewed first for division, they go, "Where do you want to be?" And I said, "I'd like to be chief of training." And they put me in operations. And the next chief, "Where do you want to be?" I said, "I'd like to be training." And they put me in EMS. So finally they put me in training.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah.
So you're in charge of all training?
All fire training. Not the EMS side. So we not the special ops. Special ops does their own training. So all we do is the basic firefighter certification, the continuing education, the driver certification, those things.
Now, do you have like a fire academy too? Is that training center that you built?
We didn't. I mean, we were building it, but that's the artist rendering. It's a great facility. I wish we had more space. We got 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. But
always, that's the story of our lives when it comes to training. You want more space.
But and that the color of the building, I learned was the architects wanted to put the different colors of flame. So that's why you have the orange and the yellow and the red. Right. So that's when I learned what an architect is. And that's that they're not smart enough to be an engineer and not feminine enough to be an interior designer.
So is that going to get built, or is that still just?
Nope, that's fully built. Yeah. So
it is fully built now.
We actually broke ground in 2009, and in 1 year, that entire facility was built.
Wow, put that back. That's pretty big, John.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to pull up another picture. Stand by. Let me grab that guy again. That's one thing in South Florida. I will tell you that they don't mess around when it comes to building shit. It gets built in no time.
And one of my goals was, a lot of training centers I see, they'll have a box and they'll say, okay, let's pretend this is a house. Well, if you look past the colored building, that building on just past that 2-story, that's a 2,500 square foot house. So it has bedrooms, it has a kitchen, it has a garage. Across from that is a tower. And what we did was we have a high-rise side, and then we have a low rise. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to have hallways so that you actually train on stretching lines down hallways, as opposed to pretending in a square that you have a hallway. And we have a lot of garden apartments, we call them, with terraces. So that's that side. The other side of that building is flat, like an office building. Kind of to the left of that is a mercantile. We've got a mansard roof. We have 3 stores. And then we have in the back right corner there is a training prop for our extrication. And then next to that is a ship, a 3-deck ship, because we do shipboard training. And then a technical rescue area.
Like sub-sellers.
And on the back right is the swimming pool there, you see. So at the back right area is the swimming pool.
Looks like a tanker also.
With the glass window. Thank you.
Yep, with the window. Yep, window was present. Yep. So that's the facility.
Where's that located?
Right behind our headquarters. So it's in an area called Doral. It's kind of West Dade, Central West. Right across from Trump's Doral Country Club.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
It's a beautiful training center.
It is beautiful. Absolutely love it. Yep.
It's the best training center ever.
But as Gonzo said, you don't have a sub-seller.
We don't have a sub-seller.
Not too many sellers here in Florida.
No, we don't have many. If you have a sub-seller, you're in the water.
5-acre site. Oh, look! If I had read 2 paragraphs in, I would have saw that it's already built, bro.
Yeah. So, but I put in there, right? I was part of the team, and again, like designing trucks, I brought in guys to help me design this thing. You know, I wasn't going to do it all by myself. There was things I wanted to see, but I never got to sit one day in the office. I designed.
Wait! You never got to sit one day in the office. Are you sure about that statement? Are you sure about that? Wait a minute.
What's with the no socks?
I don't know.
That's when I was chief. That was when I was chief.
Don't get in the way. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story, bro. Come on.
I think better without my shoes on.
Where did you find that, God? Somebody said.
No, he sent it. He wanted me to share it. So I had to share it.
I sent so many pictures, I didn't know what I sent. He probably has some of my baby pictures, too. I don't know.
So, some of your kids.
March 10th, you're appointed to assistant chief. I thought you had your dream job.
I did. I screwed up. Yeah, I screwed up. I got browbeat into taking the interview for it, and lo and behold, they give it to me. So, I enjoyed it. It was areas I wasn't familiar with, overseeing fire prevention and logistics. You know, those weren't areas I was familiar with. Communications. I mean, I told everybody, to me, megahertz is a big rent-a-car. I don't know anything about communications. But I had a lot of smart guys that helped out a lot. So
you got Jim, I can't pronounce his last name,
Ingledude,
yeah. Ingledude. Everybody has the big-ass fans.
Everybody's got the big-ass fans now. Yeah. Those things are great.
Yeah, they move some air. We need them in Florida.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in the meantime, though, I missed the deployment. You deployed to New Orleans. You go to a lot of hurricanes. You went to New Orleans, and then you went to Haiti.
Yep. Yeah, went to the earthquake in Haiti. That's the team in Haiti. When that earthquake hit, there's 2 of the 28 teams that also work with the State Department, Los Angeles and Virginia. But when the Haiti earthquake, because it's so close to us, I directed the USAR chief at the time. I told him, let's roster a team. We don't know what's going to happen here. And lo and behold, they send us. Actually, New York was down there too. It was a great deployment in the sense that, and you guys know this, right? How long you train over and over and over again. And every deployment we've ever been to, going back to Oklahoma City, you're doing body recovery. And it was Haiti where we were actually bringing out survivors. We rescued 11 people.
Really?
One kid, 2-year-old kid, 8 days buried, and we rescued her.
Several of those stories.
Yeah, unbelievable.
There was other teams, I don't know the teams off the top of that, would not refuse to go into certain buildings where TF1 and TF2 decided to go in and actually found another additional, I want to say 7 individuals that were in the market, if you remember correctly. The marketplace where they.
Oh, were you down there too, Guns?
No, I wasn't. That was before my time.
You're on 2, aren't you?
Yes, but they were there.
They were there.
If you're not first, you're last, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah,
So,
I knew you're copying that guy's fucking statement in the chat. Shut it.
somebody said that.
Yeah, somebody said it in the chat. If you're not first, you're last. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't even see that. See
Thanks,
that?
you bastard.
But yeah, but I had a good moment down there because it was actually the morning after New York had rescued, I think, like this 9-year-old boy, and it was sun's starting to come up, and I was over there. We met every morning, and I saw Joe Downey was their team leader. I was our team leader, and so we had a moment where Joe and I kind of were standing there, and I go, I think your dad would be proud, man. All this stuff came together, because he really built the USAR system, right? I mean, it was Ray that really,
You didn't get
really
the name God for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, I know he's looked at one way in your organization, but from my standpoint, we couldn't have done it without him. And so it was really kind of cool that everything came together, right? So if I was going to have my final deployment, I'm glad it was that one.
Yeah, brother.
Nice, yeah.
And then you do it again. Here we go. This guy can't help get promoted, Gons. What are you waiting
for? So
I'm working on it. So
2011 appointed Chief of Operations, 70 stations, seaport, 3 airports, EMS, and special operations. Now, see, the circle is widening.
Yeah. Well, what happened was our chief somewhat abruptly retired. There was some change in leadership in the county, and the chief said, "Yep, I think it's time to pull the plug," and kind of retired and kind of left us hanging there, and not left us hanging, but so the guy that took over, because we're a strong mayor form of government, the guy that became mayor was a former City of Miami Fire Chief. And so he brought in a good friend of his that was a former Miami Fire Chief, Shorty Bryson, who turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to us. He was the right guy at the right time. Sometimes you don't want these outsiders, and the guy before him was an outsider, and who did a lot of good for us as well. But Shorty was the right guy at the right time. It was definitely the right guy for me. I was starting to be in the dumps. Like I didn't feel like I was in sync with anybody else, and so he moved me to operations, and we were kind of joined at the hip. So great guy. And, I kind of knew, not many people knew that he was really, he had retired after a long career, and he was retired when the mayor brought him back, and he wasn't going to be there long. So, the funny story, right? You talk about how people test and interview for chief and all. Well, mine is different than anybody's, right? So he tells me, "Hey, you need to be the chief." And I said, "Look, I don't want to be the fire chief." And I said, "I like what I'm doing." And he said, "Well, I'm not staying." And he goes, "If you don't take it, they're going to bring somebody from the outside." And I'm like, shit, I can't have them bring somebody from the outside. And we went back and forth for months. And I said, "Look, man, I gave up 6 years at Sunrise that I didn't get credit for in my retirement." I said, I've got another year or 6 more months before I hit my retirement here. Somebody told me a long time ago, never take a chief's job unless you can leave. And I said, I am not sacrificing anything for this 6 months. He goes, 6 months? Okay, I can wait. Just like that. So we never talked anymore. And I'll never forget, it was January. I was in Philadelphia at a FEMA meeting. I was the national representative. We talked every day. I called him and I said, "Hey, you know what today is?" He goes, "What?" And I said,
6 months.
I said, "From here on out, I can tell you to go fuck yourself." And, and he goes, "Oh," he said, that's right. He goes, "When do you come back?" And I said, "Wednesday." He goes, "Okay, you're going to meet with the mayor on Thursday. There's a press conference Tuesday, and I leave February 1st. So go fuck yourself." And he went,
"That's fucking great." And people to fuck you on you.
And he wouldn't take my call. I'm texting him, "Hey," I call my wife. And I go, "I'm not sure what just happened." And I get back, and they drag me down to the mayor's office, and like that, I'm the fire chief.
Poof. Wow. We have a term for that.
It. You know what though? I think that was probably a great move for your department. I never understand what these departments that bring chiefs in from the outside. To me, that's a slap to the chiefs that are working hard to get up there. And even the guy that's a firefighter who's aspiring to be a chief of department. It's like, why should I bother when they can bring some guy in from East Podunk to be chief of the fire department? You know? So,
well, I mean, that's that's kind of what I was thinking about, right? I didn't know what that was going to mean, and I loved my department, and
right.
sometimes you make sacrifices, right? For even when I studied for officer, right? The old word back in the day was you either work for an asshole or you be an asshole. So I said, all right, well, I'll be the asshole. And
that story's great, though. How he fucking hung up on you. Priceless, man.
It's classic.
You time. Oh yeah. Well,
people call me all the time. Hey, can you help me? How'd your interview go? And I go, you don't want to know how my interview went. There was no.
Now they know. Now they know.
Yeah.
Right. So when you first got on, let's see, what was that when you went to Miami-Dade?
88.
88. Did you ever think you'd be chief of department?
Never in a million years. Never.
No?
Never wanted to be a chief. Never. No. I mean, I like I said, I was already involved in teaching even early on in my career. I loved teaching. I felt like I could impact more people in training than anybody else. I still believe that. And so that's all I wanted. I wanted to be, I dabbled in training coming up. I was a recruit instructor for a couple classes. I just loved it. And so, no, I never ever thought about being the fire chief.
Did any of your other co-workers say this guy's going to be something someday?
Well, so it's funny. I was a rookie. I was only on maybe 4 months, and I'm riding an Engine 9, and I had a great captain, and just a great guy. And I've been on 4 months. I've been with him maybe a month, and a new chief comes by, a guy named Dave Brooks, who ends up becoming a very good friend of mine. But he was a brand new chief, and he's bouncing. The regular chief wasn't there that day. So we're all sitting at the table, and he looks over and he goes, "Hey, Downey," he said, "Captain King said you're going to be the next fire chief."
Really?
And I said, "Hey, look, chief, I just want to get through probation. I'm not looking at anything else."
Look who's chiming in here.
Yeah. Hey, Rocket. Yeah, Ray Bell. Yeah. But so I never was able to track down Chief King, or Captain King. But and Chief Brooks ended up becoming my battalion when I went to Station 7. But, one of our great chiefs. And I learned a lot from him. And so somebody saw something. I absolutely didn't see anything.
So let's branch off a little to the other side. Where did your wife wind up? She wound up being a chief where? In
Davie, so this town I live in. So we live in. So she was a lieutenant at Sunrise, and she had 24, almost 25 years at Sunrise. And Davie, where we're at, was really exploding. The department's growing. And, to your point, Hank, they had problems that nobody was eligible to move up. Nobody wanted to move into chief's positions in the department. And so they had to recruit people from outside.
Right. But again, we're talking smaller departments now.
Smaller departments, yeah. So she got recruited, and they brought her over as a division chief of EMS. She was big EMS and emergency management. And that's how she started. And then she moved up to assistant chief. And when the fire chief, who tragically died of a heart attack, young guy, great shape, dropped dead of a heart attack, they were looking for a chief. And I still remember this, that their city manager went and talked to the union president, the chief officers in the department. He told me, he goes, "I talked to 35 people in this department. And you know how many people said I should pick your wife?" And I said, "How many?" And he said, 35. He said, they said that the chief that treats the men most like men is a woman. And
really?
They wanted her, and he made her chief, and
so
she did a great job.
Chief of the department in Davie?
Chief of the department, yep. So that was it. I gave up, right? I was ahead of her as chief, and then she always had seniority.
I was going to say, was she chief first?
No, I was chief first.
If she would have been chief first,
is she watching right now? Is she watching right now? Where is she?
Yeah, she's in Orlando. She probably is watching.
Probably watching.
Is she still on, or she retired?
She retired in February. Yeah, so she did 43 years.
Yeah,
wow, 43 years.
Yeah, she's very instrumental in the area, Chief. Just so one side,
she is the real Chief Downey. She is.
Can you kiss some more ass, Gonzo? Maybe?
No.
Oh, Chief.
You know what? To my point, Chief, is that even that's kind of the same area, like you said. They recruited.
Yeah.
You're in Davie, you're in Coral Gables, you're in Lauderdale by the sea. It's kind of like you're in that area. You're mutual aid. Everybody knows each other. It's not like they went to say Wichita, Kansas to bring somebody in.
Right.
Yeah.
And
it's not like they went to the ghetto of Coral Springs and pulled somebody out of there.
Right, exactly.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, I will say that,
and that's not to say that a chief from Wichita couldn't do a good job. It's just that
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean,
I want to see.
That was a big thing with me.
Move it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Why didn't you interview for Chief of Davie, Gons? When
it was internal, but that's not there. I will tell you that some agencies, they have to create or make it very attractive to do those jobs. The culture has changed, whether you guys realize it or not. The culture has changed in the fire service that affecting jobs like that.
Yeah,
people don't want to go that high up. They're very happy being the chauffeur or the engineer or captain and retiring. That's it. They don't want to go any higher.
Oh, look at me, bro! You would have had to put a stick of dynamite under my ass to blow me out of that seat, bro.
So there you go. But it's getting. I don't say more of a problem, but it's a very serious thing. You guys don't want to go much higher.
But she's the
select
first
few.
chief of the department, female chief of the department.
Yep, first
Kev,
one.
you know what they don't want down there, Kev? They don't want anybody from New York doing any training down there. I found that out from my good friend.
Really? You think if you had a friend down there, somebody would hook you up? A guy who was in Rescue 1,
you would think that somebody with
out
all
of 132 ghetto trucks.
Was a training chief.
You think he would help a brother out? You know what I mean?
No.
Nah.
Don't get buttered.
Maybe
Thanks, guys. Don't worry about it.
She was, but she was the first female in Broward County. And the other funny story or interesting story, when she was trying to get on the fire department back in 1980, she interviewed with Davey. And at the time, that chief said, "We will never hire a female."
Good for you.
Well, and you know how the world is round, right?
There's a circle.
There's a Chamber of Commerce award named after him because he passed away. Guess who got it?
Come on! The irony gets even better.
Very nice.
The world is round.
Wow, that is great.
Downey, could you help out a brother who's really good at training? Maybe you could hook him up with a couple of gigs.
I'll hook you up.
He's got another friend that doesn't want to extend a hand.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I can definitely do that.
I don't know what the hell you're fucking
Thanks,
talking
Chief.
about.
At least I know I got some friends on the East Coast.
Yeah. What about Jose?
I didn't know Hank. For my defense, I didn't know Hank was still interested in wanting to come out and hang.
Wait, time
It's
out.
an hour and a half drive.
Let
I
me
didn't know he
just
wanted
ask
to make it.
A couple of questions. Are you a chief?
Who?
You.
Oh yeah,
Are
eventually.
you chief of training?
I am.
Holy shit! Nah, you know what? Your guys don't have to talk to a guy who put in 30 years on the FDNY and special ops and get a. They've seen enough fire. Don't worry about it. They're good. They're good.
Room and contact fire.
What's that, Hank? I'm working him.
I don't want to
good.
beat him up too much. That's enough.
That's
He took
all right.
a couple of lefts, a couple of rights. That's good.
Is that good?
Hey, Gonza, do we have time to do engine 3 or what?
Yeah. I was going to make sure we got to it. Don't worry. We weren't going to go without that because I know that's
I'm
very
sorry.
important.
Let me just pull
No, that's good. That's good.
Let's do it.
So I'll let me go ahead and pull this up and I'll let Chief start talking about it.
Well, pull up do you have the older one that's got the galleon and stuff in it?
I have that one.
There you go.
Oh, Bobby, baby.
You recognize those guys?
Yes, I do.
So
Pete Lund is in the middle.
Pete Lund,
right? Bobby Gallione, and I'm not sure who the other fellow is. Must be a younger chap.
Yeah. So, like all departments, we wanted to find some way after September 11th to honor the brothers that made the supreme sacrifice. And as you know, we're the land of green fire trucks. And so the decision at the time by the chief of the department was to paint one of our trucks red.
Who was the chief by the time?
Dave Paulison.
Okay.
Yeah. And who ended up becoming the FEMA administrator. And so actually in 2002, we dedicated this truck, Engine 3. It's an in-service engine. You see that logo, and the guys came down to help us with the dedication ceremony. So that was our first iteration of as we refer to it, Big Red. And
nice. Still in service?
Well, so the unit, a unit is in service, but over time, you're replacing the engines. So when I became fire chief, we were embarking on some new units, and so there's the new, and actually there's one that's replaced that since, but that's the new big red.
Which is one right here, right?
Which one's the new big one?
This one right here. So
nice
that's
looking rig. Looks like a squad rig.
That's engine 3, and some things just to note. You know, we wanted to continue to honor. So you see that black stripe. So the black stripe has all 343 names in it.
Oh shit!
And then when you hit it with a light, it looks like the memorial. In other words, the names become black and the black becomes white.
Wow.
And there's all these little touches, and you see that mural on the side there in the back. That's a picture from a guy you know, Danny Alfonso. Right.
You got to get a better picture. We should have gotten the back of that picture.
I'm looking
flip
for
it around. I think the other side.
I'm working on it. Leave me alone.
Yeah. I think the city.
He's all beat up. You see him, Hank? He's all beat up. He doesn't know what to do.
I'm fine, you fucker.
He's punch drunk.
But when we put that engine in service, and I did it on September 11th, that's when Joel came and a couple other retired FDNY guys had come down. Joel said, you know, he wanted to be there. And so we did a whole ceremony and everything. And I was telling him that, it did a tour around the country. In fact, the chief of FDNY.
Oh, there you go,
there
Gons.
There you go.
That's a sharp looking rig, man.
Yeah. And so that was by your FDNY, Danny Alfonso, right? Who
Nice.
I learned from Joel was Dennis Mojica's illegitimate child. That he would always come ride Rescue 1 with Dennis.
Really? I say that about Gonzo. He's my. Gon, send me those pictures for a cup of Joe.
Okay.
Yeah. So I actually sent that to you a while back for a cup of Joe, but it never made it. But that's
You
okay.
did?
But when it was doing its tour, because they debuted this at FDIC, and then it went on kind of a tour, and it went to New York. And I don't remember who the chief of department was at the time.
That's a good looking rig, man.
But he had called me and he had said, "Hey, I love the rig." You know, he goes, "Think you could work out a trade?" And I said, "Well, I've got 31 green ones. You can have any one of those. That red one's coming to Miami."
Is that the only red one now?
That's the only red one. Yep.
Really?
Red one. And
that's going to be cool working.
What we ended up doing was making the rescue out of that quarters, again, the medic unit, is also red. It's called Little Red. And it is painted up as a salute to the veterans. So nice. The station's unbelievable. If you're ever in Dade County, you got to stop by 3.
I remember you sending me some stuff. I do remember that you say
beautiful station. Yeah, but you know that engine, just like the heavy rescue, is an example of. I had the easiest job in the fire department. I just said yes, and the guys made it happen. Like all I said was, we got to replace engine 3. That was it. Turn the guys loose. They did it unbelievable. They came up with all of that on their own. You know, I saw it for the first time, like everybody else did at FDIC, and the wrecker, the same thing. I knew. You know, I had a concept of what I wanted, but I had guys a lot smarter than me that could figure it out. And there you go. There's Little Red.
There's Big Red, Little Red.
Yep. So so we're proud of that. You know, we're going to maintain that. And then
it even says that on the firehouse, huh, Chief?
Yep. Well, the Heroes of September 11th, and then the also off to the left in the front of the station, they actually have a piece of the Trade Center steel that they built their own. And these guys did this all themselves. You know, not the trucks, but the station itself, they've done all themselves, and just a station with tremendous pride and you know, great guys.
Wow. Well, what ladder company is that?
I don't know. It's just one of our. Let me put it back up again. It was probably an event there. So
so it's not in that firehouse then.
No.
I was going to say, get with the program, man. Get out of there with that.
No. I know. But listen, if I started a fire department, I would never have picked green. Yeah. But that's what we're known for, right? We've had it for 40 years, and the only thing I added to it was the gray roofs. And the reason I did that as chief is because we always, when I got on, we wore gray uniforms. So we were always known as the guys with the gray uniforms and the green trucks. So I like tradition. So I said, I want to paint the roofs gray instead of white, just to bring back some of our history.
Very nice.
So, somebody asked, why choose engine 3 to be the 911 rig?
You know, I think I don't know where that started. It might have been something as simple as in the very beginning that was the unit being replaced, but they couldn't have picked a better house. I mean, that's one of our traditional houses. You know, when I got on, it literally was a home, right? I mean, it had the jalousie doors, and you know, it was one of our original fire stations. And cool. But they couldn't have picked a better place.
What area of Miami is that in?
It's called Tropical Park. So it's Bird Road and basically the Palmetto Expressway. I mean, just a little west and south of Miami International Airport. So
okay. You go back and visit the brothers now that you're retired?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I try because I tell everybody, you know, I miss the clowns. I just don't miss the circus.
Right.
And so, you know, but I miss the guys. You know, I love the department. And, you know, as much as I can see them, I try to. It's interesting, though. And you know, it was Freddie LaFamina that told me, he goes, when you retire, man, it's just the longer you retire, the more they forget, you know, or you know, you walk in a station, you don't recognize anybody. And you know, it gets harder and harder. But I said, shit, that happened to me when I was chief. You know, I stopped at a station one day. I was famous. The guys called them drive-bys. I just show up at a station. I love talking to firefighters. I didn't bring an entourage. I didn't call the chief. I just showed up. And I stopped at a station one day, and there was a guy there, a firefighter. He came on with me. And we're sitting around. He goes, where are you at these days? And I go, I'm still at headquarters. And his lieutenant said, hey, you idiot, he's the fire chief. I said, you know what? I don't take it personal, man. Even the president has to put his picture up in every federal building.
That's right. Yeah. Hank, I went to the squad the other day. Was it Tuesday? I knew two guys there.
Yeah.
And nobody in Haz. One guy I knew in hazmat. That's it, Eric.
It's amazing, right? How fast it is.
Yeah.
There's where I'm getting the challenge going. Yeah.
Oh, he's slipping it right in the hand there, bro.
Slipping it in the hand, yeah.
There you go.
Boom.
Oh, that's one that I don't want. All right, I'm kidding.
I also got a handwritten note from Donald Trump, but before presidential stuff. When he bought Doral, I had to have a meeting with him. Have some fire prevention issues.
I don't want to let out my political views here.
We have another gentleman that I would just share this picture with. You recognize?
Oh, great guy! I love him. What a shame, right?
All to the earth, man. He
what a great friggin' guy.
And I knew Bobby for so many years, and we've got a guy, Bill Guston. He's our firefighter's firefighter.
Oh, is that the guy that Gonzalez?
It's another guy we're going to get on the show.
Oh my God, would he be great? He would probably be more than one show. But anyhow, we do our annual medal day, nothing like yours, but an award ceremony, and we created a new award, the Student of the Fire Service, and we named it after Guston. And so him and Bobby Holton were very close to each other, and so we invited Bobby down, and you can, you know, this is when Bobby was in the midst of battling cancer; he could barely walk, and you know, he came down and, of course, did an unbelievable speech, and it's just a great time. You know, we spent a couple of days together, and you know, when they recognized Bill for lifetime achievement at FDIC, you know, Bobby asked me to be there, and you know, Bill and I have always been good friends, and you know, he calls me Chief, which makes me so uncomfortable because he's one of my mentors, you know. But yeah, so that was
what a great guy. Did you see the show with him?
I did. Yeah, I've seen a lot of
he was a professional skateboarder.
Yeah, right. I didn't know that either.
With the long hair, like wow.
Yeah.
Are you going to FDIC this year?
Yeah, I actually just got notified they're doing a lecture.
You know what that means? We got to go out to dinner.
Yeah. What else?
Coop said
I was a nobody, but I actually stopped by your booth one time, and you guys were busy. There was a lot of people there. I just remember Lou going, "Hey, Big Dave." That's all he said to me. I bought a hat from you guys. But
are you doing
any? You know what? Now you get to come on the boat cruise, bro.
For sure.
See that?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you my New York boat story. So I'm up ride. I went up to visit. I wanted to visit the training center, your training center, when I was, you know, we were designing ours, and so I went up to ride, and I was going to ride along with Joe Downey with SOC. So he took me to the training center, meet the chief and stuff, and then he had to go by the safety chief somewhere in Brooklyn. I guess that's where one of the fire boats are housed. And so the guys were like, "Hey man, we're gonna take a ride out, go around. It's like May, it's beautiful. Go around the Statue of Liberty." It wasn't the big fire boat. And you want to come? And I'm like, yeah, sure. That's cool. And Joe's like, yeah, go ahead, man. I'll wait here for you. If I get something, I'll come back and get you. So we go out. It's beautiful, man. Took us around Stat. Just a beautiful day. I see the guys talking on the radio and everything. And I'm like, what's going on? And they go, Marine One's coming out here to pick you up. There's a collapse in Manhattan that Chief Downey's going to. They want you to go to Manhattan in Marine One. I'm like, what are the odds of this, man? They're picking me up in a fireboat, and I'm responding to a building collapse. Yeah.
Well, you know who I am. I'm Chief Downey. They're going to pick me up.
They didn't know who I was.
Hey, go get Chief Downey off. You put is Downey around? No, you're not Downey. Downey. I'm looking for Downey. Oh, the other Downey.
Yeah. Well, a few years, my daughters and I did the Father's Day run the family puts on, so we always got a lot of mileage out of that, because the signs always said DC Downey, right? And my initials are DC Downey. But yeah.
I have that.
Excellent.
But now that you're out, are you doing any training or anything to keep your hand in it?
Yeah, well, there we go. We're at the.
Sorry, I was trying to find
yeah.
Father's Day run with the kids.
Yeah. Needless to say, they run a lot better than me. But
everybody needs a caboose. It's okay.
Yeah, I do a lot of. I wanted to get back to the fire service. I know we have a young fire service, and so I do a lot of leadership training. I was just in North or Central Florida the last 2 days. I do depends what they want. I did an 8-hour leadership class, and I told them, look, I'm no expert, but I made so many mistakes. I want to help people learn from those. So I do a lot of that. And company I work for, we do a lot of leadership coaching and working with officers. I work with Gonzo. I work with people all over the country. I feel like a therapist sometimes. I don't tell them anything they don't know. I just reaffirm it, right?
If you weren't doing that, you'd be climbing the walls.
Oh yeah, I had the fire service is literally my whole life. I have nothing else. I mean, I love scuba diving. I do underwater photography. That's my piece.
You off with Scuba Rubin?
Yeah, but besides that, I don't play golf. I don't have a wood shop. I mean, I have to do something, and I love the fire service. And I still love talking to firefighters. I love visiting fire stations, and
that's it. Like you said, your dream job was chief of training.
Yeah,
and I mean, I'm out of it for so long, but to me, it still gives me some self-worth when I go out and I talk to these young guys. Absolutely. And they love it because, I mean, there's no shortage of questions.
Nope.
And it can be anything from firehouse life, how they hire, how do they transfer, or what were the tactics or procedures for this?
Yep.
And to me, if there are young people that want to, that are interested in learning that's our job as guys with experience to pass that on.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you go by Gonzo, all right. I'm sorry.
Some of them bitch.
But you're right. I mean, one of the things, when I had to deal with 6 suicides in 18 months of some of our members, and a few of them were retirees. And, we were really trying to figure out what can we do to try to keep guys connected. And we actually created what we called a reserve program. And in Florida, if I keep your name on the books, it maintains your fire certificate. You'll never use it again, but Jesus, I've had it for 40 years. I don't want to give it up. And so basically, if you leave in good standing and you want to be a reserve, you can. We give you a polo shirt. I'm a reserve. And if you want to come in and teach a class, you can't ride the truck. But I'll encourage a lot of the senior members, hey, stop by the station. Give them the history of Station 3. Give them the history of this battalion. Let these guys know where you came from. And we also, we do all these recruit awards, outstanding recruit and athletic and all this. We added a retirees present the camaraderie award. The recruits themselves pick who's that guy that you can count on. And it's given out by the retirees. And just trying to keep them connected with the organization and keep them connected with the department, because, it's critically important to if you move away to Montana, there's nothing we can do, right? But if you stay local. And so now, if they check out, because the firefighters got everything figured out to the penny, right? Their finances, their retirement, but they don't have a clue what they're doing the first week they're retired. And so we'll have a group that meets with them. That's called the Brotherhood. and her is in pink, so we don't offend anybody. And you go through, you talk to the brotherhood. You go, oh, you're moving up to Central Florida? Well, there's a group of guys that meet on Tuesday for lunch. Here's the guy's number. Hook up with him. We do an annual retiree thing. And it's amazing, right? The guys that spent their whole career hating each other are like best friends now. Because we're all the same once you retire, right?
Yeah, right.
Sure.
I say it's like, now that I'm retired, I even miss the guys I didn't like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, anybody wants a guy with a wealth of knowledge, a living legend, call on Senior Dude, CoopsPodcast@gmail.com if you want him to train at your firehouse.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Put that up, Gonzo. Put my email up.
Ask a question. That's it.
Put my banner up, Gonzo. Come on, before I do it. There you go. Send it to there. If you're looking
slow your
for
roll. Fucking yelling at me.
Well, listen, Chief
didn't you go teach by Jose?
What's that?
You went and taught by Jose, didn't you?
At the Orange County, they have
right.
Yeah, they do some training every year in memory of one of the guys.
He's a good guy, Jose. He really is a good guy.
I got that through the guys in Orlando, actually.
What's his fiance's name?
Agnes.
Oh no.
We got to get to the time. You know what time it is.
Shit,
time it is.
Is it the time for?
I think it's that time.
The old school.
Old school
tip of the day.
Hi, Chief.
All right. Well, I watch a lot of your shows, but I don't see all of them. Hopefully this isn't being repeated, but I wanted to do something for the new people and something for leadership. So for those new firefighters out there, those aspiring ones, what I learned when I got on the job, when you go through training, you're familiar with your ups, right? Push-ups and pull-ups and sit-ups. But when you get on the floor, remember 4 other ups. Shut up and listen up. And take the time to listen to those senior members and learn from those senior members and spend less time talking. The other 2 ups is step up, get involved with your company, get involved with your department, go to events. And the last one's clean up. Look sharp, keep your apparatus squared away, your tools squared away. So that's for the new people, and for those leaders out there, it's simple. I tell leaders all the time, if your goal is to be liked and then respected, you're going to get neither. So your job as a leader is to make people better, not make people happy. So that's what I got.
Wow, I like it. I like it. I like the push-ups and the ups.
I like the ups. That's like a t-shirt. That looks like a t-shirt.
Yeah, I used to.
We got to give them.
We'd have so many recruit graduations. My finance guy used to laugh about it because I would throw the ups in, and the other one would be the bacon and egg breakfast. Right? You've heard that one. Tell everybody, look, you're familiar with the bacon and egg breakfast, right? I want to know which one are you, right? The egg made a contribution, but the pig made a commitment.
Right. I liked it. That's another t-shirt, bro.
And then the last one I tell at the promotion, right? Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, not a vegetable. And wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. That's it. I'm done.
All right. Great job. Well, we got one more thing to do. We need to explain why Hank's got a Band-Aid on his forehead.
Oh, yes, we do.
So wait a minute.
Wait. Hold on 1 second, Hank. Give me 24 seconds. Here we go.
25.
The First Responders Center for Excellence is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to protecting the lives and livelihoods of first responders. Their education and research initiatives aim to bring greater awareness and understanding to the challenges to the health, safety, and well-being of firefighters, EMS personnel, and other first responders, too. They are an affiliate of the National Fallen Firefighter Foundation.
So tonight's old school health and safety tip is brought to you by Hank Molay.
Okay. Well, we know that they're always preaching, and it's good preaching. We need to take care of ourselves. Nobody else is going to do that. Get checked out for a lot of things. We go for our World Trade Center medicals. You should be going for your annual physicals. And as firefighters, we know that we have a higher incidence of many things, cancers and different illnesses because of the things that we're exposed to. So this was it doesn't sound glamorous, but twice a year I go and get checked for skin cancer. And I had a spot up there that for a while it would freeze. It just kept coming back. Finally got biopsied, and it was cancerous. So I had to get it cut out, and I got some stitches up there. And skin cancer is one of those. I think it's it might be the highest rate of cancers that are diagnosed every year in the population. And it doesn't just happen to Floridians. I know, well, you're in Florida. I just read a study where I think if you look at it, this is where the face, when you're wearing your face piece, where the seal is. Well, that's up against your skin, and there's carcinogen, you're sweating, and the whatever's in that atmosphere, the combustible products are up against your skin. So, who knows? It could have been from having a mask on for 30 years, But the thing is, if you don't get tested, you don't know about it, and skin cancer can definitely kill you. So that's just one of the many things that you need to get checked out.
Early detection, senior dude.
That is correct.
Early detection. Bravo.
Yeah.
Great job. Great job by you tonight, Chief Double D.
Thank you. Thanks, guys, for having me,
your
man.
show.
They're not double D, you know what I'm saying? Trying to be respectful here. It's a family show.
Yes, and we have 9/11 fastly approaching. Jose's coming up with Agnes. I don't know if Gonzo's coming up. He's on the fence right now. I'm thinking it's a no. But as you know, everybody's welcome to the squad, 288, to come in and pay respects with us. And then we go back to the watering hole afterwards. Squad's watering hole. So you're all welcome.
Yes.
All right.
And that's all I got. What do we got? We have a show on Thursday night? We have somebody?
We do, but don't forget, we have the fire marshal. I want to say, was it George?
Oh, I'm sorry. We have a line of duty death. You're right, Gons. Thank you.
I'm in the process of loading his photo right now. So
okay, good job. See, look, you redeemed yourself tonight. I won't break your balls anymore.
That's bullshit.
It's with Downey.
5 minutes, you won't.
Yeah. At least for the last part of the show. So, but all right, Mr. George Snyder, here you go. Unfortunately, I don't have the details as far as his passing, but after 22 years of service.
22 years of service. I think he was a fire marshal.
He was the fire marshal.
Yep.
Supervising fire marshal.
Supervisor fire marshal.
Yes. Amen, so. I'll read him the 5 bells.
God rest in peace, my brother.
Yes, Chief Double D. I'll see you on the boat cruise, brother. I'll see you in Indy first.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, we got you now, man. We're taking you out for dinner. No more Louis giving you the, hey, how you doing? You know what I mean?
How you doing there, Big
now
Dave?
I'll be like, oh, Chief Double D, let's go. Here we go. Senior dude.
I had a great time, guys. Thanks so much.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Chief. You had a great career.
Thanks, sir.
All my buddies out there in Leatherhead Nation, glad to be with you tonight. Stay safe.
Excellent. You're Gons?
Hey, in honor of Miami-Dade, I want you guys to roll heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. All right, guys. You know what I say. Stay low and go, bro.
Let it blow, baby. All right. Good night, guys.
We'll see you
Good night.